Have you ever really stopped to think about what's happening inside your car's engine? I mean, it is a world of controlled violence. Today, we're going to dive into the one system that keeps it from tearing itself to pieces and the one single warning light that you absolutely, positively cannot afford to ignore.
You know, your car's dashboard has this whole language of lights, right? Yellow is kind of like a, hey, check this out soon. Some are just informational. But red is almost always bad news. But among all of them, there is one undisputed king of stop what you're doing right now. So what is it? What's the one warning light you should never, ever ignore?
It's this one, the oil pressure warning light. Yeah, it looks like a little old-school oil can. And if this light comes on while you're driving, it means your engine is probably just seconds away from catastrophic self-destruction. And I am not exaggerating one bit.
Okay, so this is critical. If this light pops on, your response has to be immediate. It is absolutely non-negotiable. As soon as you can safely do so, pull over, shut the engine off. Turn it off immediately. And then call a tow truck. Don't try to limp it to a garage. It's just not worth the risk.
So, to really get why this is so incredibly serious, we first have to understand the machine we're talking about. So let's take a little trip inside the world of moving metal that is your engine.
At the very core of it all, you have the engine block. Just think of it as the heart of the engine. It's this incredibly heavy, precisely machined chunk of metal, and it's got these big holes in it called cylinders. This is where all the magic and all the violence really happens.
Now, flying up and down inside those cylinders, you've got pistons. Their job is to catch all the energy from tiny explosions, and that frantic up and down motion gets sent to the crankshaft, which is this clever piece of engineering that turns it all into the spinning motion that eventually gets to your wheels. It works a lot like your feet pedaling a bicycle, just way, way faster.
So here's where we hit a snag. The pistons are connected to the crankshaft, and the crankshaft itself is spinning inside the engine block. At every single one of those points, you have metal sliding against metal at unbelievable speeds. Just idling at a stoplight, that thing is spinning hundreds of times a minute. On the highway, we're talking thousands. This is literally metal-on-metal contact, which feels problematic, doesn't it?
And what's driving all that frantic, high-speed movement? Well, it's an incredibly forceful process. That brings us to Section 2. The cycle of power. This is where we learn how your engine is harnessing thousands of controlled explosions every single minute.
Okay, so to make those explosions happen, we have to seal the tops of the cylinders. That's the job of the cylinder head. It bolts right on top of the engine block and creates the combustion chamber. But it also has to be able to let air in and fuel in and then let the exhaust out. To do that, it uses these things called valves, which honestly look a lot like big metal golf tees that plug and unplug little holes in the head.
And this all happens in this perfectly timed four-step dance called the four-stroke cycle. First up, intake, or suck. The piston goes down, drawing in a mix of air and fuel. Then compression, or squeeze. It comes back up, compressing that mixture really tight. Third, the bang. A spark plug ignites it, creating an explosion that forces the piston down with incredible power. And finally, exhaust, or blow. The piston comes up one last time, pushing all the used-up exhaust gases out. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Over and over and over, thousands of times a minute. It's kind of nuts when you think about it. So we've got this incredibly violent process creating massive forces, making all these metal parts slam against each other at insane speeds. So how does the whole thing not just grind itself into a pile of dust? Well, that brings us to the engine's lifeblood, the elegant solution to a very violent problem.
Way down at the bottom of the engine, there's a big basin full of oil called the oil pan. And sitting in there is the oil pump. It's connected to the spinning crankshaft, and its one and only job is to suck up all that engine oil and force it under high pressure through this crazy network of tiny tunnels and holes that are drilled all throughout the engine block.
And here it is. Here's the elegant solution. That pressurized oil creates something amazing called a fluid bearing. It's this super thin, constantly refreshed film of oil that physically separates the moving metal parts from each other. The crankshaft isn't actually touching the block, it's literally gliding on a microscopic layer of oil. This right here is the single most important thing keeping your engine from destroying itself.
And the difference it makes is just, well, it's night and day. With the right oil pressure, all those parts just glide past each other. Friction and heat are kept way down and the engine can run smoothly for years. But the second you lose that pressure, those parts start grinding directly against each other. The friction creates a catastrophic amount of heat, and the engine pretty much immediately seizes up and self-destructs.
Yeah, the path to total destruction is terrifyingly fast. First, that protective cushion of oil vanishes, which leads to massive friction. That friction generates extreme heat, and before you know it, things get so hot that the metal parts actually start to melt and weld themselves together. That's called an engine seizure. And at that point, it is absolutely game over for your engine.
So this brings us to the really practical part. All of this incredible engineering, this whole elegant system, it all depends on one simple thing: having clean, effective oil. And that is exactly why getting your oil changed is so critical to maintaining this protective system.
See, over time, engine oil just gets contaminated. Little bits of gunk from all those thousands of explosions sneak past the pistons and get into the oil. The constant extreme heat also causes the oil to chemically break down, and the result is that the oil just loses its ability to lubricate properly. It can even turn into this thick, disgusting, and destructive gunk we call engine sludge.
Which brings us right back to our little warning light. You know, the technology behind it is actually brilliantly simple. It's really just a pressure switch. When there's enough oil pressure pushing on it, the switch is held open. But if that pressure drops below a safe level, a spring pushes the switch closed. It completes an electrical circuit, and boom, the light on your dash comes on to warn you.
All right, here is a super simple takeaway you can use every single day. When you first start your car, that little oil light should pop on with all the other dashboard lights, but it should go out almost instantly. I mean, within about 1 second of the engine actually starting. If it stays on any longer than that, you might have a problem that needs to be checked out.
So, the next time you get in your car and turn the key, just remember what's going on under the hood. Thousands of explosions every minute, with metal parts moving at incredible speeds, all of it balanced precariously on a microscopic film of oil. That little light isn't just a warning, it's a vital sign. So the real question is your engine's lifeblood healthy?